Hey guys, how's it going? Kevin Cleary here with a first impressions video for you. Today we are looking at a Lionsteel, and my love for Lionsteel fixed blades is pretty well documented. This is one of my favorite fixed blades of all time. This is the Lionsteel M4. We've talked about it. It's been in tons of videos. I've compared it to all kinds of different things, and I've also reviewed its cousins, if you will. There's the B35, which is very much like this knife, just a little bit slimmed down, and I love that knife. There's also the B41, which goes a little more in the bushcraft direction. Anyway, all of the Lionsteel knives I've really enjoyed. The only one that I had a little bit of an issue with was the T5, and it was still a fantastic knife. It was just that the edge was pretty obtuse, and so that can easily be remedied. Now, back to this knife. This is the H2 from Lionsteel, and I've got to say, actually, before we take it out of the sheath, let me just show you the setup here, which is really spectacular. I've already had this on my belt a little bit, so I can tell you that it goes on nicely and carries really well. So there we go. We'll throw those in that way. Great new little fixed blade from Lionsteel here, and this is purposely designed for EDC. You can see the sort of kidney carry setup on the sheath there. You could scout carry this around your back. The problem would be if you turned it this way, you wouldn't be able to get at the button. If you turn it this way, it's sort of a left-handed draw, which is not ideal. I have tried it on both sides of my hips though, so I find it works best with like a cross draw on my left hip right here. But I did try it, and it is workable on your right side as well, and you can sort of just reach your hand down at your side and grab it like this. So I just wanted to show that. I just want to point out that I have tried this out a little bit, so this is not maybe as much of a first impression as most of my first impressions. Also, the lighting is acting weird today. I think it's just there's a lot of snow outside, and it's creating more reflectivity and therefore more light than usual. Anyway, back to the knife in question. The other thing that I wanted to point out by way of first impressions is that this is not a Moletta design. I do like Moletta's designs, and most Lionsteels seem to come from that background, but this is designed by T. Rumici, and his maker's mark is here on the blade. Show you the other side. Lionsteel, Italy, M390. Stonewash finish there. And so since we're kind of into that realm anyway, let's go ahead and do a quick rundown here. You can see flat ground blade, nice top swedge, a little bit of jimping on top, crown spine, even though they did a bit of a swedge here, very comfortable. Moving down to the handle itself, there we go, we've got really nice looking micarta, and notice that this has a similar feature to the T5 in that this is milled from one solid piece of micarta and then attached to this handle, which is a really nice touch. The handle itself and all the fit and finish is very clean and smooth and comfortable. This is a slightly smaller knife that I usually carry, although I've often pointed out that I'm okay with compromising that size a little bit for a fixed blade, just because sometimes it just makes more sense to do that. Now, you've heard me say this a million times. Do I think a half an inch would ruin this and make it, uncarryable and stuff? No, I would love to see a 3.5 inch blade on this instead of the 3 1/8 that's there. But even as it stands, this is pretty good. All right. So no big issue in terms of the blade length there. I just would like it to be a little bit bigger, but I say that about almost all knives. Size on this, let me give you a quick rundown. I should look at the sheath a little bit more carefully. So we've got this nicely hand done stitched sheath. We already pointed out that it's set up for kidney carry, but look at how well done that leather is. And can I just say, let me pop this in. I've got a couple of other knives here that I was going to use for just comparison as sort of EDC fixed blade style knives, but I'm going to use them for an example of the character that comes with a really nice leather sheath. So here's the M4 that I showed you a minute ago. Here is the Hinderer Emmett. Look at just both of these are absolutely gorgeous, and the craftsmanship here is truly, truly impressive. And that's not the only one. I'm also going to grab another knife that's actually set up for a similar type of carry, and that is the Riot tibia right here. Again, beautiful, beautiful knife, really, really well done. I'll bring these back out in a second out of the sheaths, but I just wanted to appreciate the attractiveness, okay, of those leather sheaths. I will say, I get the utility of Kydex, but the leather just has a lot of character. And I think, in this configuration especially, this looks really, really spectacular. Nice little Lionsteel logo there on the button. Just very, very nice. All right. Now that I've gotten all that out of the way, let's go back to the rest of my comments. The blade length, I think I already mentioned, is 3 1/8 inches. The handle length is, well, the handle length is a little hard to call. So we're going to go grip length. So we've got about a little over 4 inches of handle here, but about 3 3/4 grip in this configuration. It also works fine, by the way. If you just grip it like this, it's okay. You do lose that retention. So generally, it feels natural to kind of put your pinky finger in there and hold it like this. You'll recall that I reviewed a while back a loaner knife that was the Cut 4 from Tops, and it had a similar approach to the handle here. This is a little more EDC appropriate than the Tops, because this can do a lot of cutting tasks. The Tops was more of a self-defense blade. This is more of a utility, EDC, outdoor type of role. Just because the way the blade is ground, it's going to be a little more workable in that role. So one other thing I wanted to touch on quickly is the weight on this. Weighs in at 3.5 ounces, just the knife. The sheath is about 3 ounces. So essentially we get about 6.5 ounces altogether. If you put them both on the scale, you end up with like 6.39 ounces or something like that, 6.4 ounces. So, you can kind of do the math on that. So there is the way that, again, this comes. I think it looks, even just like this, it looks really, really good, doesn't it, guys? And let me give you oh, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. I wanted to give you a quick comparison of a couple of these knives side by side out of the sheath. First, let me throw in the Riot tibia here, which takes a very different approach. Okay, the tibia's got this big dramatic blade and a smaller handle. As I've said before, I would like to see a larger handle on this, but it's not bad. The knife that I feel like is best suited to EDC that's available right now has got to be the Kaiser Harpoon. I really need a Maverick custom harpoon, but anyway, I don't have that knife with me. I stupidly left it at home, but it should be in this video. I'll make sure that I have it for the full review. Anyway, there's the tibia alongside the H2. Let me grab the M4 as well, and I'll grab the Hinder Emmet, just even though they're not that comparable. You can see the M4 there is not really that much larger. And I've said before, the M4 is fine for EDC. I will say it would be a really, really welcome offering, Lionsteel, if you're listening, if you did this sheath, the M4 sheath, but in this configuration, that would be spectacular, right? That would be really, really impressive. Not that anyone from Lionsteel probably watches this, but that would be a really, really cool offering. Finally, let me throw in the Hinderer Emmet, which is another favorite fixed blade. I do need to do a side-by-side comparison between the Emmet and the M4. I promised that I would, and I will get to it, but that feels like a video that should be done outdoors, and just don't have a lot of time to play outside these days. So finally, what are my overall concluding thoughts on this? At this point, I'm pretty impressed. I'm going to carry this. I'm going to use it. I will say it does fit very comfortably on a belt, and you really don't even know it's there. But I'm going to put some use on it, get some time outdoors with it, do some cutting tasks with it, and come back with a full review. I don't anticipate a whole lot changing. My initial thoughts are really nicely done, comfortable. The size is a little on the small side for me. I'd like to see a little bit of extra blade length here, but That's really the only complaint. Otherwise, this is beautiful, and the sheath is absolutely impressive. And I've said that with a number of these leather sheaths recently because I really, really think the craftsmanship is just so nice. All right, thanks for watching, guys. Go pick one of these up at White Mountain Knives. Use my discount code SHARPSTUFF. You'll save 10% off. And these knives, let me add one last point. Before we go, we're at 10 minutes. Bear with me for 15 more seconds. In terms of what you pay for what you get, Lionsteel is probably doing, if not the best, as good as anyone delivering value. I think these are only like 140 bucks, and just the sheath alone is so, like, you can easily see that there's great value here. And any of the Lionsteel knives, the B35, the M4, I mean, go pick one up. Visit White Mountain Knives. You'll save an extra 10%, which makes the value even better. But I really, really have to say, I love what Lionsteel is doing with their fixed blades. I have for a long time, and this does seem to fit right into that role. Again, barring that when I go to start using this, it has some really, really big issue, which again, I'll tell you about in the full review. All right, guys, thanks for watching. We'll talk to you soon.